back. WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. Those of you who know my almost famous background as former music critic at the Evening Sun, these many years ago, know how much I miss music more than sports here of late. The last time I was at a concert, this guy here had me on the ground, scraping around for the 80th time in my life, picking up picks that he made rain all over the sky. I think I'm still cleaning it out, but there's something about picking up a Rick Nielsen pick at a Cheap Trick show and offering it to a young person and seeing the smile on their face. Rick, I tell you, man, I've been seeing Cheap Trick for going on 35, 40 years now, since UFO and Off-Broadway at the now Royal Farms Arena, then the Baltimore Civic Center. And I've amassed all of my CDs that I have of yours and the box set and like all that. I probably have 850 picks, but I'm in the middle of moving. I was going to bring all of those out. It is so good to have you on. It's so good to have you and your family back on the road. I didn't want to say the last concert I ever saw in my life before the plague was Cheap Trick at the Warner Theater, but it was, and you guys were magnificent. Thanks for coming on with me, pal.
You got it.
Give me the family trust and what's going on, because I'm such a Trick fan, and you guys were going out with Rod Stewart last summer. Then this summer, you had a date at Merriweather. That date got backed up and all that. And then I look up, and down at Rams Head in Annapolis, you're bringing out the family and bringing out Dax and some others. And this is sort of a new thing for a Cheap Trick fan like me to come out and see you play in a place like Annapolis this weekend.
Yeah, let's see. We got Dax on drums, Miles on guitar. There's three Nielsens right there. And then Miles's wife, Kelly Stewart, rounding it out with and then we got a couple of cousins too. We got Dave on bass and Adam on saxophone and keyboard. So we got 6 Nielsens out there.
Was this like a Partridge Family thing from back in the 70s, Rick?
Yeah, a little twisted Partridge Family.
Well, I mean, you're a musical family. I don't think there's any secret about Dax being in the band for a period of time. Run me through how this comes together. And look, putting any act on the road, you've been doing this a long, long time. And the back end of the plague, I know a lot of facilities, bookers. To my point, your shows have gotten moved and bumped around. Everybody's gotten bumped around. To be able to go out this early after this with a family unit and do something different, something new, it's probably exciting for you, right?
Yeah, well, besides going out with we're called the Nielsen Trust, the TNT. Then I will still have Cheap Trick too. So I mean, I played a couple nights ago with Cheap Trick, and now we're coming to do TNT, and then we go back out with it's like I'm playing all the time now, which is good.
Well, in different sets. Tell me about what we can expect. By the way, it's kind of a different kind of show. It's a noon show. Doors are at 11 a.m. It's this Sunday. If you want to come out, Father's, but no better place to take You're spending Father's Day with your son. You're a good parent, Rick, this weekend.
Yeah, there you go.
It's at the Rams Head on stage in Annapolis, one of my favorite places. Very, very intimate room here, Rick. I mean, small place. Give me a set, not the set list, but give me like what you're diving into here, because I'm assuming it's not what you and Robin and the guys do, what Tom does, right?
No. Well, this is a cheap Trick, deep tracks, some deep tracks that stuff that the Cheap Trick doesn't normally do. Plus, we have we're actually doing I Want You to Want Me, and Miles is doing Surrender, and so we're doing some of that stuff. But it's just musically, it's a whole bunch of good stuff.
So I got so much fandom in me. I should tell you, a year and a half ago, I was in Tokyo and I sought out the Budokan station. It was under construction. It was you couldn't get in, but you could sort of see into it. From all the things you've ever done, right, to have me halfway around the world seeking out a venue because I heard I Want You to Want Me 40 years ago, I guess you don't think about it in that way when you play a gig. Like you've gone back and done other gigs there and other albums from there. But I think about all of that, all the years of doing all this to show up at Rams Head with the family. Maybe you weren't thinking about taking the family out till recently, huh?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting way to do it. So we're having fun doing it, and we were actually booked. We had a month off because Robin was going to Germany with Alice Cooper to do some stuff with an orchestra. So I had a month off, and so let's book it. We booked it, and we did 2 shows, 2 sold out shows, and then the whole thing collapsed with COVID and all that crap. So we're trying to rebook all that stuff, and here we are coming to Maryland.
How do you use your COVID time? I guess a pretty typical musician thing to say. I saw a lot of people interacting with fans. I saw people writing songs. I saw people reworking songs. Garth Brooks is singing with his wife on national TV to keep the peace here. How were your months spent? Because as I saw you at the Warner Theater, things were normal, and a month later, everything's crazy for everybody. But I think there was a lot of time on people's hands, for artists at least.
I just thought it was very uninspiring, so I wasn't in the mood to write much. But I wrote down the ideas, and plus I worked on my guitar collection. I've got a couple TV show things coming up. I'm busy all the time, no matter what happened. So it worked out fine. I like the solitude because I don't have to. Wasn't surrounded by the whole family all at once all the time. So it's like. It was time to breathe. It was good.
For you with guitars, and one of the most famous guitar collectors, if not players of guitars, what makes you buy a guitar? At this point, when you say collect, I collected baseball cards, right? So everybody wanted a 52 Mantle or whatever. What piques your interest as a guy who seemingly has touched every guitar you've ever wanted to touch, right?
Well, yeah, sort of, but actually, I'm in Nashville right now, and I'm actually going to a little to do here with Gibson in about an hour. So and then I know all the guitar stores that are here in town, so I'm gonna go see what they got. I'm always looking for something that I haven't seen before, or something that I want. There's nothing that I really need, so it's not a amount of needing anything, but I still like the smell of the old cases. And I like I just like the craftsmanship that all those great old builders have, and I like it all.
Well, what do you seek out at this point? I watched your Hall of Fame induction, and again, I'm a lifer fan. You guys have been so good to me all these years. Tom's always been great to me. You did the show 20 years ago when Chips Enough, called out Illinois Favors, and the guys from Styx have always been good to me through all these years. But I've seen you in the Hard Rock in San Francisco play in a bar. I've seen you play in the infield at the Kentucky Derby. I've seen you play stadiums. I've seen you play arenas. At this point, this family thing you're doing, the Nielsen Trust and going out, this is something different. Are you seeking variety at this point? There's no mountain left to climb for Cheap Trick for me, other than get out and do it again and be awesome when I see you.
Yeah, well, that's it. Just to play. It's like we have good songs, so it's like let's go out and play. It's like I'm a musician. I'm supposed to be poor, and so that didn't work out. But just to go out and play. That's cool. The fact that we have a name where we're not pigeonholed, that we're able to go out and do anything we want, and the crowds have been great.
You guys have always worked. I'm thinking about how many different places I've seen you. I've seen you in Bo Hager's in a bar. You guys have played so many different venues, but you've never, I don't think as a fan, there's ever been a time, certainly since the internet started the last 20 years, where I could put your name in and not see that you're doing something somewhere, doing a little run, doing a 2-week run at some clubs in the South or whatever. I feel like I've always had an opportunity to come out and touch you guys.
There you go. Come out and touch us some more.
All right, the pick thing. I told my wife, I said, when Nielsen comes, he's going to hate me because I'm going to be such a nerd. And I'm thinking, how many picks have you thrown? Like, do you buy more picks than any other musician in the history of the universe?
I think so. I buy them 60,000 at a time. And that ain't cheap. But, it's like I've done it. I've never sold a pick. I've never sold one pick, although people sell them all the time on the internet. And, just my way of, here you go. This is my business card.
I would just say this, and my wife had never seen you before last year, strangely enough. And I said to her, when the picks go up in the air, look at the people's faces. Just look at their one. It's like a Super Bowl when Ray Lewis would say, look at confetti. I would think that that's still kind of fun watching some 52-year-old guy scrambling around on the ground trying to find a pick.
Well, I was at the state of Illinois. We got Cheap Trick Day in every April 1st in state of Illinois. I threw out some pics there, and you'd never seen all these senators and congressmen and all this stuff groveling for a lousy little pic on the floor. It was funny.
Rick Nielsen is here. Cheap Trick, the Nielsen Trust, and Nick Perry and the Underground Thieves putting together a limited capacity, socially distant show. Tickets still available. I really appreciate Rick taking some time and coming on and dealing with a goofy chair. So I'm trying to come up with every stupid question I could come up with that I couldn't find on the internet. How I wore this to sort of honor you. My Cheap Trick shirt's kind of put away. I always wanted the belt buckle, but the typewriting thing always appealed to me as a writer and a newspaper guy. It was a newspaper font. Give me the history of the Cheap Trick logo that is so sort of ubiquitous to you guys, so ubiquitous that people copy it in all sorts of ways.
Well, let's see. Our logo came to be about by a guy named not Cameron Crowe, but Christopher Crowe. He's the guy that did Last of the Mohegans. He did a whole bunch of stuff, but we knew him. He just came to a club to see us all the time in Sammy G's Circus in Kenosha, Wisconsin. His dad was a graphic artist, and he said, "You guys need a new logo." And he brought that, and we said, "Well, is it the top one here, the second one?" He says, "No, it's all of them." And those were handwritten. That was before Photoshop and all that stuff. And says, no, use all 6 of them. And with that, you take up as much space as as AC/DC, which is the best logo there is. It's like it takes up the space, and you know what it is.
Well, Rick, every kid in 1979 in my middle school would draw the logos, whether it was Styx, Rush, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, Cheap Trick, on our notebooks. It was like what we did, and yours was like the most fun because I could actually do it.
There you go. You're more talented than most.
Well, I think your logo did stand out, and I think it was part of your guitars. You guys had a vibe about you, and it almost felt like you were more fun than a lot of other bands. And I think you went.
Well, we are.
World's greatest party band, I would say. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys back out on the road as Cheap Trick. Certainly looking forward to having you and the entire. Did you leave any of the Nielsens at home, or somebody minding the ranch back in Illinois, or no?
Well, let's see. I'm an only child, but I got 12 grandkids, so there you go.
Well, we'll get them in the band and put the bus together and put it on the road. Rick, thanks for putting up with a long-suffering fan. And I know you take pictures with celebrities everywhere you go. I did manage to one time get one picture with you. This was at the Cleveland Convocation Center opening for Motley Crue back in the day. God. In the middle of the World Series in 1997. And I appreciate all the pics and all the music, man.
I ruined my continuity by growing that stupid beard, but there you go.
Yeah, you look great in any hat. I'll tell you that.
All right.
Rick, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate the visit.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Rick Nielsen doing the Family Trust and doing Cheap Trick as always. Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and royalty joining us here on Baltimore Positive. Go find the Nielsen Trust this Sunday, special Father's Day show, lunchtime. So you can even hit the golf ball, take Dad to the Nielsen Trust, and Nick Perry and the Underground Thieves starts at noon at Rams Head on Stage in Annapolis. I'm Nestor. We are WNST.net AM 1570, spanning the globe to bring you rock and roll and sports and all sorts of good stuff. We're BaltimorePositive.com.